Hey, check it out, folks. One of the things that I love to focus on whenever I sit down and provide education, both monetarily, mindset, as well as structure and balance on how to really create the life that you deserve. I once in a while share a little bit about my journey, and one of those journeys is I haven't had a drink since July 1996, and we're going to play in that space today. So how did you guys meet? And when you first kind of looked under the hood, were you like, oh, or were you like, what was that like?
It's actually really funny because CFC, I would say, would be like the conduit for the two of us to have met. So my friend, who I didn't know was in recovery, was a member of CFC.
So you didn't know him? I didn't know him
at all. I didn't know him at all. And CFC at this time is in its infancy. It's only 2 years old.
So we're talking 2013?
Yeah.
Got it.
It's only 2 years old. My friend is in recovery, who I didn't know was in recovery. And she calls me one morning and she's like, what are you doing? It's 6 a.m. I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
She's like, we're going whitewater rafting. You should come with me. And I am a very quiet person. I like places that I can hide. So I'm like, where am I? If I'm going whitewater rafting, I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm stuck on a raft. Like, I can't hide behind people. I don't.
In the water.
So she's like, whatever, I'll call you later. So she calls me later after they go rafting, and they're going to have a party. Again, I don't know my friend's in recovery.
Got it.
So I'm thinking, ooh.
Is she a good friend? Like someone you grew up, like someone you're real tight with?
No, just someone that I just happened to know.
Okay.
And so she's like, we're having a party. It's a hot tub party. You should come. And
what
I'm
goes
thinking,
on? Hot tub parties. What else is going on?
Yeah. So
is there anything else you should tell me that you didn't tell me?
We do a lot of cool things.
Yeah, hot tub parties.
But in my mind, I don't know that this is a recovery community doing this. So I
never heard of a meeting being a hot tub. Go ahead.
So I'm thinking like hot tub party. We're gonna drink. We're gonna good music, everything. I get to wear a bikini. Like, yeah, I'm down. Because I can hide at that point. Like if I'm not feeling it, then I can like.
Well, usually hot tubs are dark, right? It's at night.
Well, I can just, if there's enough people there, then I can kind of just hide wherever if I'm not feeling it. So I get, I don't have a car at this time, so she comes to pick me up with these two guys.
Is this all New Jersey? Like you're all in the same?
Yeah, it's in New Jersey.
Yep.
She picks me up in her car, and I get in this back seat, and I'm sitting next to this guy, and he's like texting on his phone or something, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy is so cute. Like, he's so cute. So I'd like take a picture like on my Snapchat, send it to my friends. We're like texting back and forth, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm going to this hot tub party with this really cute guy. I get there, turns out it's his house. So Dan's in the back seat with me. They order pizza. There's like 4 people there. And
no hiding.
Now you're looking for the wine at this point, or the boot? Like,
yeah, I'm like, all right, like maybe we're just like beginning of the party. There's music, but like it's just it's more of a hangout. And then
did you notice there was no alcohol?
No,
like was it present? Like that there was.
Well, so my friend, as I'm getting into this car, she texts me and she was like, "Don't mention anything about because she was at a party with me like the week before."
Got it.
So she's like, "Don't mention anything about alcohol. Don't mention anything about weed. Like don't mention that." So I get in the car like, what is she talking about?
Going on?
But okay.
Yeah.
And then I learn as I'm there that Daniel's in recovery and all the other people around me are in recovery, and this was not like the party that I thought. So immediately I'm quiet. Now I'm uncomfortable. I'm quiet, and Dan's talking to me, and we just started bonding over like simple things. We're both into meditation. We're both,
you were into that naturally, like
just naturally. Yeah. So we start talking about that, and he goes, "Hey, I would love for you to come with me to the gym tomorrow morning. Do you work out?"
Did you guys do the hot tub scene yet?
Yeah, we're in the hot tub.
All right, just want to make sure
let me.
Was it like any kind of hot tub?
I thought she was really cute, and we were talking, but she was kind of ignoring me at the same time.
Very standoffish.
I told her to put her phone down because she would hide behind her phone.
Yeah.
So I made her put her phone down, and then I threw her in a pool. And
Got it.
That's
that was how you.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan was very forward. I was very like.
I got my confidence at this time.
Yeah, I could tell.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So So I mean. We're talking. He asked for my phone number, and he's like, "Do you work out?" I'm like, "I don't work out."
Yeah.
No. Yeah. But I'm like, "Yeah, I go to the gym every day. What are you talking about?" Because you guys asking me to do something. So we go to exchange phone numbers, and then got distracted. Whatever. We leave. And I didn't get his number, so I'm like, I'm never gonna see that guy again. Obviously, I'm not going to the gym tomorrow morning because like I don't have a car. Like how am I gonna get there?
Now, where do you live? Like you guys live in the same town? Like what's going on at this point?
We're in different towns. We're like about 20 minutes away from each other.
Got it.
And so the next day goes, he goes to the gym with my friend, but my friend like doesn't come get me, whatever. And I get a text a week later, and he's like, hey, I don't know if you know who I am, but you know, we met me at my house the other day, and I'd love to take you on a date. And it kind of just snowballed from there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We were supposed to end up in a yoga class, but it ended up being a chanting class.
Oh,
Which
it was like
totally
the
threw us
worst.
for a loop, but it was a great experience.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys do yoga? Is that part of the recovery process? Is that
I was definitely way more religious about it back then. I'm lucky if I get to the gym nowadays.
I did hot yoga recently for the first time in my life. I
It's
can't even
great.
do the stretches.
It's hard.
No,
yeah.
it's good.
Oh my God, I was like 15% ability. Like I just would lay down. It got so hard, I just laid down and started like thinking about like manifesting business ideas.
Yeah, well, that's when it comes to you.
That's how hard it was. There was people holding these poses. It was like the
You gotta turn
craziest.
your brain off. You have to
Yeah,
learn
you
how to turn your brain
Yeah,
off.
yeah, I do got to learn that. That's excellent. So now you guys are dating. Now you're learning there's a business, but you're learning his story,
Yeah.
right? So you're meeting mom and dad, sister. Like that's we gotta peel it back, and you're seeing that. Wait a minute, him and his mom are tight.
Yeah,
there's a story here.
I grew up so I'm adopted, and my adoptive family is very conservative. They're definitely like be seen and not heard kind of people.
Yeah.
And Daniel's big Italian family, so they're loud, and they say what they want to say. There literally are no secrets. Like, you know everything about everybody all the time.
Yep.
And that's intimidating to come into when you grow up differently and you're so used to being like quiet and reserved. Like, you don't walk into someone's house and talk to them. Like, that would be rude if you did that. But to them, they're like, why is this person coming to my house and not saying hi to me?
Yeah.
So me and my mother-in-law at that time definitely did not have the relationship that we do now, because she's like, what's wrong with this girl? Like, why is my son interested in this person?
Yeah.
And there was a lot of other things that were going on in my personal life. I met Dan, and I was homeless at the time, actually. I was living with a friend.
Wow. How old were you at the time?
I was 19.
Okay, you guys were young.
Yeah, we were really young.
Yeah.
Wow. And I...
When you say homeless, did you decide to leave your house?
No, I was kicked out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that? Or?
Yeah, no. Yeah. So I'm adopted. So I went through the foster care system, and I was adopted at a late age, at 11. At the time that I was adopted, I was considered unadoptable, because I had like behavioral issues and just going through from like 6 to 11. That's such fundamental years for a young girl. So there's a lot of trauma in that, like a lot of...
She has 12 brothers and sisters that all ended up in foster care.
Yeah, and my biological parents are both still in active addiction.
Where are they from?
They're from Elizabeth, New Jersey. Yeah, so... And through that process, from being 4 to 11, and then doing that 6 to 11 in foster care, there's a lot of things that you experience in foster care that most people wouldn't experience, like sexual abuse, physical abuse, not knowing when your food's coming next, that kind of thing. So we grew up very differently. We were two very different people. And as I started to kind of peel back my onion, I guess you would say, and we dug into who Alyssa was.
Well, can I so
yeah.
I usually get people to cry. What was that like? Working through it 16, 17, 18, and 19, like what was...
Yeah, I mean, it was really hard, because all I wanted was a family, someone that like actually loved me. And you as a child are working through like, why is it not working? Like, I went through 22 foster homes, some of them group homes, and experienced real trauma. I was separated from my siblings, and that was very difficult. And then when I was adopted, and the relationships with my adoptive parents didn't work out the way that I had hoped. It wasn't like this fairy tale that I had envisioned as a child. Being 19 and being kicked out of what should have been my last and forever home was really traumatic. I mean, I was escorted into my house by the police. I had to pack a trash bag full of my close, and I didn't know where I was going and when I would return. So it was a really tumultuous time in my life. And obviously I'm not thinking about, being in a relationship with someone or anything. It just kind of happened that way.
Were you involved in like drugs and alcohol on your own at any point, or did you stay away from that?
No,
just because it was like taboo for you. Did you know you were meant for something different? Like when you think back,
I have this knack for being unconventionally stubborn.
Yep.
I made like a pact to myself when I was a child that I refused to be anything like my biggest dream was to become a mom and to change my life that way, to impact my children's lives and to break that cycle. I refuse to end up like, my parents and like my siblings. I'm actually the second youngest of my 12.
Yeah.
So I had seen them come back and fall into the addiction and poverty and prostitution and just, I didn't want to be that.
Yeah.
And I think so many people ask me like, how did you do that? And I wish I had a clear answer, but I just was so stubborn that I just refused.
Did you have to, as you and Daniel grew together and you saw like another side of the family, did you have to kind of learn how to kind of get some of the edge off and be open?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing, my family loves to hug.
Yeah.
So, and I am not a touchy-feely person.
Yeah.
For good reason.
Understood.
Right?
Yep.
So that was definitely, I had to become soft, and I kind of had to learn how to speak my own truth and to tell my own story and to kind of stand in that as well.
Your superpower, stand in your own superpower.
And I think, I just happened to stumble upon this family that does it naturally. And it was something that I definitely had to navigate, but was really helpful, and that's why I think it was such a good fit.
And what's amazing to me as I sit here and I'm just learning all this with you folks is that this is like help somebody first change a life, but there's a business here, right? There's stuff that's happening right now in the sense that you're making the world a better place through recovery, one person, one family at a time. And you're young, you guys meet each other. There's all these different dynamics. Then you get married, you dated for a while, married and have children. Like, how is that, like that journey? Like, what does that look like? Every day, every year from the year before, and
I mean, we really just grew together. I mean, when we first started dating, it was like, we're just talking to each other and, just about life and goals and dreams. And that echoed inside CFC, what I was doing, talking to other people about their goals and dreams. And it just got to it was a cool cultivation period that it was just, we were literally bouncing ideas off each other, me and my mom, and my sisters, whole family was involved. And we were like, I think this will really help people. Like, let's create this kind of program, and we'll reward people for doing good things instead of like there's always consequences to doing bad things. Why don't we reward good things, right? So we came up with this whole accountability lag to CFC.
What is the reward? Like, what does that look like?
Our members literally gain points by going to meetings, getting jobs, just
they
doing good things.
Wellness.
And every 6 months they win a prize. And I mean, not like, hey, you get like Domino's Pizza. I mean, like we've given away cars and down payments on your first apartment.
Dude, I
all
love
those
that.
kind of things. So
that is awesome. You gamify sobriety.
You get a hand up.
Yeah.
You gamify, but it's not just sobriety. It's staying sober is one thing, but you're talking about all these other dynamics that feed into staying sober, which is pretty incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were just running with this. Like, it was just like, oh, this is cool, right?
Is it still innovating? Are you still innovating? Is it?
Yeah, we literally, like, it was just because we're just doing this, right?
Yeah.
I'm working horse shows on the weekend to put food on my table, right? And she's dealing with me, all right? And my mom, she's working for free. We were just like, let's figure out how to change the world. So we were just coming up with these ideas that were amazing. Like, just even going to like a county fair, and we would come up with like a cool way to bring people to the table instead of like shying away from like, oh, I don't want to talk about addiction. Like, we would have this cool game that they would come play so that they would come up and talk to us, right? Like, everything we did was just innovative and cultivated just from a very pure sense. And it grew it into this massive community, and slowly but surely we sustainability came into light. As you grow a nonprofit, where's the funding coming in? It was fine helping 10 people, but how are we going to help the 100 people, right?
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to find that money? So that's where Rock the Farm came in. And Alyssa, actually, we just started dating when the first Rock the Farm happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our very first picture together is actually us at Rock the Farm. It was freezing because they did it in October.
Yep.
We're sitting around the fire, and I think I'm kissing him on the cheek or something. And then there's another photo of us hugging where you can't see our faces, and that became like CFC's photo for a long time.
We became the poster children of CFC. But that was the first big event that we ran and organized, and we raised enough funds to really support CFC for at least a half a year at that point. But we just kept growing and adding programs, and from our TK Go program that we started helping people get jobs through employers.
How do you do it? That's really cool.
So you could become a Lumineer as an employer, and what you can either donate, you can either give someone a job in recovery, or you can donate your time so they can experience a day in the life of.
Give me an example.
Right. So we have a lot of people. We tend to be very indecisive in recovery, right?
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So like trying to choose what direction do we want to go. Like say we want to go back to college, but we have no idea where to even start. We already wasted so much time in our addiction. We don't have time to waste anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of playing a guessing game, hey, pick 3 things that you want to be, and we'll put you in a day in the life of each of those and see which one speaks to you and start chasing that dream. So just those opportunity moments, are really important, and that's what we tried to do at CFC.
Really
is
awesome.
always give you the opportunity. You're going to take the action. I can't do that for you.
Yeah.
But we're going to give you the opportunity, the experience, the exposure.
Amazing.
Of these different things.
That's very innovative. Because someone will be able to decide if they really want to
and it's
do it
great
or not.
because it brings the communities together. Like it allows people who own businesses who want to do something bigger than themselves to give back to their community, and it gives the person in recovery a real sense of responsibility and that there is hope to get past that stigma. Like I'm no longer a drug addict or a loser or whatever they may be thinking in their minds. Like I'm a person of importance, and someone actually sees value in what I do.
Yeah. So Alyssa, let me ask you a question. So by the time you meet Daniel, he's sober 2 years. Was that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's gone through the gamut of rehabs, created this initial liftoff. You have life experience of drugs and alcohol, your own story, which is a book in and of itself. What was your learning curve now? All right, now you're here, you're with the family. What kind of stuff did you have to learn to kind of then start innovating within this model?
Yeah, the biggest thing was, how do I support Daniel in his recovery while still being a normie?
Normal means, for the folks,
a normie is someone who can still drink or maybe use recreationally. I don't like normies. Yeah, I don't use drugs.
Normies,
but,
normies are overrated.
It's someone who can basically do something that a substance or something, and they don't.
Yep, she drinks, doesn't finish the glass of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a normie.
So how best can I help support Daniel while still wanting to have a drink? Because I said, we met when I was 19, so I wasn't even at legal drinking age at that point.
Got it.
And a lot of my friends were in college. I was not in college, so I didn't even get that what most young people would be able to experience, being able to go to parties and things like that. And because I had finally been freed from the conservative lifestyle that my parents had, how am I going to still participate and have my friend group while still making sure that Daniel is being comfortable? So that was definitely a learning curve for me, and something that is kind of but makes us laugh now is we had a house party, and Daniel was there with me, and I obviously was a lightweight because I never drank before. So I mixed this stupid drink. I'm drinking. I'm thinking that I'm fine. I'm waiting for all my friends to get there, and I am not okay.
Yeah.
And I literally took a nosedive off the stairs, split open my chin, I throwing up. It was horrible. It was not good.
She had one drink.
I had one drink. Yeah, it was really, really bad.
That is a lightweight.
It was not good. And at the time, I'm not thinking Daniel's in recovery only 2 years, and he's seeing his girlfriend a mess. I'm a mess.
Did you understand where he was at though in life Like, were you able to kind of at that age?
No, I didn't. I honestly didn't even think that it was even something that I had to even worry about.
Got it. Yep. And how did you feel at that point, if you don't mind? That point.
Yeah, I mean, at that point in my recovery, I was really strong in my recovery, so it's not like it was triggering or anything to me. I was just more frustrated, like, why did you get this drunk off of one drink?
Yep.
Yeah. And it was a real wake-up call for me the next day, because I'm like just casually talking to a sister like about the party before, like, again, being naive and thinking, why do you think this is okay to share? You know what I mean? You should be embarrassed is basically how I should have been. So I talked to his sister. His sister obviously goes and tells his mom. So she pulls me into the kitchen. She's talking to me like a mom would, and be like, why would you think that?
Now, was this your first experience like with a mom? With a mom?
I mean, this is like my first experience with someone who
loves you,
like cares, but is like drawing a line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it was terrifying. Was that like a fight or flight moment for you?
Yeah, it was terrifying. I definitely shrunk. First I tried to be defensive, as you would as a young.
I mean, your story, yeah,
as a young kid, and you're like, you're not my mom. You know what I mean? You can't tell me what to do. She slapped me, and that was like ooh, okay, and
she lit.
But it was the turning point that I needed to know that, like, this behavior. Like, you can't, if you're going to be in a relationship with someone who's in recovery, new recovery.
Or this family too, right?
And to be here. Like, if you're going to be a part of this family, you need to understand, like, understand the reality of it and the trauma that you may be, you know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't have been talking to his sister about that. You know what I mean? Because it brings up a lot of feelings for her.
And you didn't know.
Yep. And I didn't know. So I think that gave me the tools that I needed, where I'm like, okay, I really need to understand what it is to be a person in recovery. What are Dan's boundaries and his limits? Yeah. And what, like, kind of can I expose him to, you know what I mean? In order to make this work.
So that was really a launching moment. That was like a boom. All right, this is the next. This is the next part of my life.
Right.
I want to be here. I want to be with Dan. I want to raise a family with him. And these are, I'm not going to say the rules, but these are the suggestions to be a part of if we're going to do this. And you accepted it. You didn't fight it. You were like, all right, I'm all in.
No, because I think at that point, even though we were still newly dating, I think that the connection was just more important to me than alcohol or anything like that in general.
Because in your life at that point, you saw something.
I just needed that. I needed that safe space, and I felt like I had found it. So I wanted to make it work.
So is this when you now began to dive into what CFC was and understand it better and really get educated? So now, because I'm sure right now, I don't, being that your title, you have to communicate with people about what this is all about and how to relate to them. Was there like classes, courses? What was your, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, CFC was so small. There was only like 8 people. So
I
Lynn
was like helping.
I literally was best friends with everybody in that program. Like, we did everything together. I would go on those like trips and stuff on the weekends. I didn't really sit in the meetings per se, but I got to know them, like, and they really became my friends. And so we spent a lot of time together. So obviously I'm going years in now where, like, alcohol, my friend group is not surrounded by alcohol and drugs. It's like I was on a completely different, in a completely different bubble than, my friends from high school. Yeah.
And, entrepreneur, we talk about it all the time. Like, who's your top 5? Who do you surround yourself with if you want to grow and scale your business? Do you want your mentors to be somebody that were average, or do you want them to be proven winners that are going to hold you accountable to be able to achieve that success that you want to achieve? It's no different than if I'm going to be sober, who's my top 5 people when it comes to my recovery? Who am I going to talk to? Hey, somebody was drinking the other day. I kind of had a thought, like, I don't want to ask somebody that's 2 weeks sober versus asking somebody that's, 10, 15, 20 years sober. Yeah. So
I think
it's really about who we surround ourselves with.
I think it was easy for me to relate because CFC as a whole wasn't just about being in recovery from substances. It could be anything. So then that brings up
the normies.
Yeah, that brings up recovery from literally anything. I had a story to tell. So it was healing for me in different ways. Which is why the model is so great, because you can use it for literally anything.
So can I ask a question based on your journey and your story? Is there the CFC Recovery reach out to kids that that may be who you were that are going through it now?
Yeah, so we have a women's empowerment program right now. So that deals with all scopes of any person who is a woman or identifies as a woman or any of those things.
Amazing.
But we are currently developing, because of my involvement, we're currently developing a program for children in foster care and how to reach them. But we do have an adolescence program, which is Raising the Bar and Rock Solid. So it's for young girls and young boys. And that's really just navigating like our insecurities, because at that point, these are like middle schoolers. They may not understand drugs and alcohol. They might move into that, but it starts. Like, yeah, it's about the little insecurities. First boyfriend, first relationship, not being the biggest kid in the class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dealing with your parents' divorce, those things that do start that snowball effect of irrational beliefs, right? When we start feeling that external locus of control, right? Where, God's got a magnifying glass and he's just trying to burn my, antennas off all the time. Like, no, you have control over your life. That internal locus of control. I can make a decision that makes a different direction all the time, right?
Are you guys in the school systems? Like CFC, like what's the outreach look like?
No, we're not like conjoined, but we were working alongside some different schools and different adolescent programs to generate the people that would come to those programs. COVID got in the way of a lot of it, so we're trying to get everything back off the ground again. But they were working with adolescents has always been something that speaks to me, and I know it speaks to Alyssa as well. I like to prevent a problem from starting from the beginning, right? So if we can open up the conversation, get someone talking, learning how to communicate their feelings from an early start, then maybe we can prevent some issues down the road. So I do enjoy working with adolescents. Even at our treatment centers, Relevance Behavioral Health, we start an adolescence program as well.
Amazing. I want to thank you both so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.